You know what I should do? I should put my phone out and record this so I see how it's done too.
We can send you 50 different versions.
Yeah, exactly. Then
So
you
what
can
do we get? We get like
fact
a
check
couple
it.
shots with you guys a year, so everybody rolls in.
Every day.
Do we get you during the season too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rotate.
Me and Coach Madison will rotate?
You're gonna love that.
You'll rotate.
That'd be fun. Can I do the wins?
Will there be any losses?
That's what I was saying. I can do them all.
I want to ask you about Damon Arnett. This is a guy that last year struggled at times, and you even said at the Rose Bowl he was leaning toward going pro, and I think probably wisely decided not to. What did you see from him in the spring? What have you seen about any kind of change in physically, mentally, whatever?
It's hard to see it change, right? Because I really was never
Right.
around him. I watched his film. I studied his film right as I was getting ready to take the job, and I saw a very talented player. Plays hard, has a tremendous ability, can cover, tough, physical. And then I saw the same things on the field. I saw a guy who loves football, a guy who works hard, a guy who gave it his all every single day, a guy who actually seemed like he really enjoyed being out there, played with confidence, and has a ton of ability. There's things we need to work on, just like everybody else, but like I said I think I said to you guys earlier, like he's given everything he's had, and he hasn't been any issue. So if I had never heard anything about him, and you guys had mentioned, I'd be like, what are you guys talking about? Like, so that's how I came in. I wanted to give everybody a clean slate, and I did that. And until he proves otherwise, I'm not gonna think about it.
Did you watch a lot of last year's tape?
I did,
And
yeah.
What were your impressions of that?
I think he's a really good player. Just like everybody else, just like guys that I've coached, you watch film, you want to clean up some things, and hopefully we can improve and get him playing at the highest level that he can.
Jeff, I know it's been about 6 weeks since that camp ended. I don't know if that feels like too long ago to even talk about, but where did you see the biggest improvement from your unit from the start of March to the end of that spring?
From the spring ball,
Yeah, when you got it.
confidence. I think if you look, I think that I wanted them to play confident. I wanted them to have fun. We got to work hard, right? We do, and they're gonna work hard. And we had to get better fundamentally, and I think we did. Schematically, they had to learn what we were doing. We didn't do a lot. We want to walk before we can run, but then I wanted them to play together, to be confident, and have fun doing it. And towards the end, you saw that. And I think if you ask some of the guys, they'll tell you that. I mean, it's still a game, and those guys got to have fun. And when they're doing that, with the technique, with the ability, and they do that together, we're going to be pretty good.
When you came in and looked at, I know you wanted to have a clean slate and weren't worried so much about last year, and this program is recruited at the highest level in secondary. What you have to work with, you'd seem like you'd be able to get some results right away. I think people wondered a year ago, you got 4- and 5-star recruits and we're struggling. What did you make of those guys when you got in there and trying to jibe that with what you saw physically and then how the results maybe didn't match up?
Yeah, I try not to think like that, right? Because then I'm kind of judging somebody for what they had done without knowing what they were told to do. And again, I'm not knocking anything that happens because I know those were really good coaches. So I gave guys a clean slate. We started the workouts, the mat drills, then we got to some fundamental drills, then we got to spring football. So I kind of went from there, and very excited. They've done a great job recruiting here. They have. And whether it's a 4-star, 5-star, 3-star, they've got good players. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm excited to coach those guys. I can't wait for training camp. You know, I'm excited to go on vacation too, but for my wife's sake, but I can't wait for training camp. Like I can't get enough of it right now.
Is Jordan able to do everything now, or are you still waiting until training camp?
Not everything.
Okay.
He's running forward a little bit. He's doing some things half speed, but he looks good doing it. Great kid. Awesome. You guys probably know him better than I do right now, but from meeting with him, but what a superhuman being who does so much more than just play football.
Once
So
he's,
excited.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Once he's healthy, if you guys had a game, who would be the starting safety on the other side? Do you think you guys might rotate a little bit, or to be determined?
That's to be determined.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'd like to stay pretty consistent with everything that I talked to you guys about, so it's real. I think we're going to play the 11 best players and figure it out from there, and I think that's what training camp will be for. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, yeah, and who are some guys that are in the mix? I'm sure, like Isaiah Pryor and
I mean, all those,
Brendan White.
all those guys are in the mix. I mean, that's, and I mean that. That's just not like media talk. I mean, look at the skill that we have there. Go out and compete for all those guys. Go out and play ball, and then whoever has the best training camp, we as coaches have to decide where to put them, and we have to get them on the field. And I'm going to be consistent with that, and that's how I talk to the players, and that's how I'll be honest with you guys. and then that's what we have to do. That's our jobs.
As you look back on the spring, who made the biggest rise though in that back area from beginning of spring to the end?
That's tough to say. Good question. I'm not evading or avoiding you.
Yeah.
But that's just hard. That's hard to answer that one.
Well, you know, Justin Went was almost given up on middle of the season last year, yet he makes a couple
Yeah,
of plays.
if you look at a guy like Wint, not to say like he made the biggest improvement, because he didn't even practice that much, right? And then he gets into the spring game and he starts making all those plays. So yeah, that really excites you. But we didn't get like a whole body of work with him.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what he can do. I mean, even a guy like Pryor, I didn't see him do too much, and I mean he showed up, right?
Yeah.
Proctor, same type of deal.
I was gonna say about Proctor.
Like Proctor didn't have much film at all that I got to see, and you know, so he did some good stuff. Like you guys can see, I'm excited talking about some of those guys. Like I'm really excited to see what they can do in training camp. What can they do when things get hard and they're tired and things get going fast?
And, yeah, did you see Okuda though make some? I mean, like
I
you said,
did.
you spent a lot of time looking at it last year, but
Yeah, if you want to get into
Clearly.
like specifics,
yeah,
I think Okuda at the line of scrimmage right now is a different player. He's got to learn to win at the line of scrimmage, and maybe I'm getting too detailed, but that's the truth. Like, really talented guy. To me, he's got a ton of tools. His skill set at the line of scrimmage with the ability to get his hands on people, that's the one thing I told him we needed to work on, and I think he did that. And I think if you actually turn on the tape, you'll see. He still needs work at it. He does, and it's going to take time, but I think he got better at that.
And Sean Wade, what do you expect his role? I know he can play all over the
Yeah.
secondary. What do you expect his role will be?
Well, I don't want to make it too hard. I don't want to make him have to play this, and this. I think, to me, when you look at guys and you see us schematically, you can call it position whatever you want. I'm training the corners to, cover. I'm training them to play a third. I'm training them to play quarters. So all that going into it, I'm trying to teach him so we can plug him and play him where we need him. I think he can play corner. He can play inside. I haven't seen him play much deep safety, and I didn't want to do that to him in the spring, but he's a talented guy.
Coach, how much of it, in talking to your kids, they said that things have simplified
Yeah.
with the defense, and they feel like they can play faster because of that. Can you talk about what they're talking about? I guess from a simplified.
Yeah, again, I'm not really totally sure what they were used to, but the thing that we tried to do was we want to let those guys play really fast. So we tried to not make it very complicated. We want them to understand. Now, we can't be so simple where people are going to be able to scheme us up, but we tried to make it as easy as we could where we could line up, kind of teach it part to whole, so we could plug in, play different things, and say, hey, this technique goes here, this technique goes here, depending on what coverage we're in. But that's probably what they mean by that. They're able to line up and play fast. Without getting really detailed into the scheme, it's probably a hard question for me to answer. You'd probably be better off asking them because obviously they've been a part of different schemes. And then I think that's a credit to our coaching staff because I think they've taken a scheme that I think will be effective, and I think they've been able to teach it in a very simple way.
How much of it is that obviously you guys recruit very, very well here, just being able to allow these guys athleticism to come out?
Have to. I mean, if we paralyze a guy because they have to think and we make them less of a player, then we're not doing our job as coaches. I mean, there might be certain places you go where you have to do more. Maybe if you're not as talented as some teams. And there might be some situations where we have to do that. But you're right. They've done a really good job here of getting some really good football players. And I think we have to let them play. But we also have to make sure that what we're doing is very sound and has answers. And that's our job as coaches.
Jeff, this team had prided itself on being a press man-to-man coverage team, basically the whole Meyer era. You've incorporated now some more zones. I'm sure they had it.
Sure.
But how has that gone? How much zone do you think you'll play, and how much do you think that'll help you in being buried?
Well, I think that we're going to still press people. I totally believe in pressing, especially in man situations, especially with some of the guys that we have who are really long and very talented. But I just think you have to mix things up. I think you have to give corners the ability to zone off and be able to play off the quarterback to try to go make some plays rather than just being man the whole time. I also think you get tired playing man the whole entire game, which, you have to protect those guys sometimes and mix it up. You got to make the quarterbacks think, because I think what you'll see is, which most of you guys understand, most of your interceptions, in man coverage come from pressure, tip balls. In zone coverage, you give a guy a chance to read the quarterback, kind of see routes, anticipate, break, and go get the football, right? So, plus the way the game's developed, you see all these crossers and these pick routes, and I mean, we can't just let our guys go in there and just get knocked around the whole game either. So we got to be able to mix it up.
Recruiting, how has that been so far? I mean, especially after so many years in the NFL. I mean, I know you've been around the country working your butt off. How was just your thoughts on recruiting so far, Jeff?
It's been fun. It's been fun getting to know the players. What's really been cool is just seeing our brand out there and how powerful it is. I mean, I've walked into schools and just the reception that they give to me and to us has been awesome. So again, that's a credit to what Coach Meyer, Mick, Coach Day, and everybody who's been here has done. But you walk into a school and, our logo carries a strong feel for kids from all around the country. And then it's just relationships. It's getting to know a guy, getting to see if is he the right fit for us, schematically, and is he the right fit for our culture. And there's some pretty good people out there, and there's some really good parents that I've gotten to know. So it's been fun.
And you obviously can't talk about specific guys, but Coach Day was just saying this is a big month for you guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball, to try and land some kids. Just obviously you can't name names, but can you elaborate on just how big of a month this is for you guys?
Yeah, I think anytime you get a bunch of guys up on campus together, I think that's big, and I think you got to try to swing away and get as many as you can that you want. But we certainly have the opportunity. The coaches have done an awesome job getting them here, and now it's our job. We got to make sure we try to finish them off.